What's up, Internet? Today we are talking about Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind. This is an album review. There's not a lot that I don't like about this record. Corey Taylor, when first talking about this record before it came out, likened it to an Iowa meeting Subliminal Verses Volume 3. Going into this record, Subliminal Verses was kind of my favorite Slipknot record, not for any other reason than because I thought the songs on there were the strongest of the bunch that they had put out. Before I Forget is my favorite Slipknot song. Duality is, of course, absolutely beautiful. And then songs like Vermilion and Pulse of the Maggots always jump out at me. There was something about that record that was just so different than Self-Titled and Iowa. The only thing about that record that I really dislike, and to this day I find such a sore spot for me, is the production value of Volume 3. I think is not good in any way, shape, or form. It's a Rick Rubin produced record, which blows my mind that Rick Rubin would allow for the record to sound the way that it does, but I do not like the way that that record sounds, with the exception of a few tracks, Before I Forget being one of them. But I much rather prefer the production of Ross Robinson on the first record, and Iowa especially. The production on Iowa is absolutely phenomenal. The production on the first record also good. I think, the first time having 9 people, playing instruments simultaneously, there was going to be a little bit of muddiness and stuff, and some things that need to be tweaked, but I think they really figured it out with the production on Iowa. Now, after listening to this record, and I've listened to it, I want to say like 3 or 4 times in full, this is now one of my top 3 favorite Slipknot records. And it surpasses Volume 3 for me, which is saying a lot, because Volume 3 held a very special place in my heart, because it was the first time. I always liked Slipknot. From day one I liked Slipknot. And the first song that I heard from them, I heard Wait and Bleed. I heard it like everyone else. Roadrunner was fucking pimping out that song like there was no tomorrow. Because my friend and I were Roadrunner loyalists back in the day. Like, whatever Roadrunner put out, like, we were there. Every album that came out was like an event, right? So we're like, we have to listen to this, Nickelback included. With that being said, I wanted to know what the hype was. So I listened to the record, and I was like listening to it, I'm like, okay, it's cool. Because, again, full disclosure, I wasn't like super into heavy music at the time. I was slowly, itching my way up towards heavy music, but I wasn't necessarily like a heavy metal enthusiast until I heard Purity. And the chorus of Purity is what absolutely took my breath away, and was like, oh, this is what that band is. They can do the heavy and the screaming, but they can also bring that melody and that catchiness. And if you've watched my previous videos before, you know that that's what I look forward to more than anything. Then I dove headfirst into listening to that record again and fell in love with songs like Eyeless, Sick, Spit It Out, all that stuff. Then I understood what was happening with that band and fell in love. And then Iowa came, and People Equal Shit is still one of my favorite songs pretty much ever made. That song is fucking amazing. Now, with that being said, Unsainted was the first thing I heard from this record. And Unsainted, when I first heard it, and I have a review video on it on my channel, go check it out if you want, I liked it, and I still like it. But it's probably the weakest song on this record. I legitimately mean that. It's a good song. I like the chorus. I like the message. I like everything about it. It's probably the weakest song on this record. I have come to truly appreciate We Are Not Your Kind. This, to me, is Slipknot's opus. 6 records in, this is where Slipknot shows all their cards. You got your heavy songs like Unsainted, Orphan, Red Flag, and Solway Firth, which Solway Firth is absolutely amazing, like everyone on the internet has been saying so. And you've got your slower tracks like Spiders and My Pain and A Liar's Funeral. And I like Liar's Funeral because I like how it starts as one song and ends as a completely different song. It's basically a yin and a yang of one another, where it starts off nice and quiet, and then it just builds and builds, and then it becomes this monster of a song. Now, granted, the chorus is heavy as well, but it becomes this monster of a song towards the end. I absolutely love Nero Forte. I have heard that track more than any other on this record. That chorus is infectious as hell. It's super infectious, and then I didn't really even realize what he was saying lyrically until I like dove in, and then those lyrics are something else. Holy shit, man, those lyrics are incredible. But the juxtaposition of the clean vocals in the chorus, especially the higher pitched clean vocals that I haven't heard Slipknot do in recollection. I can't remember them singing that high. And then immediately afterwards, like that, like scream, fast tempo, like dictation almost. It's not even rapping. He is going nuts. I mean, just like 16th notes, syncopated 16th notes that he is singing alongside the high vocals that are going on right behind it. Nero Forte is awesome, and specifically that bridge is absolutely incredible. The percussion element reminds me a lot of something that they did in Blister Exists off of Volume 3. The da da, which is Blister Exists, but this one, different tempo, different thing, but it reminded me of that when I first heard it. I was like, oh cool, they're kind of doing that thing. The back and forth vocal of like Corey's just like screaming, and then the rest of the band accenting certain words. So freaking cool. And then him screaming again, that's what you do best, that's what you do best, that's what you do best. Absolutely phenomenal. I think it is the highlight of this record, and it easily becomes top 10 favorite Slipknot songs for me. Like, that song is unbelievable. I also really love Not Long for This World. Corey's vocals kind of goes back and forth with what the guitar is doing, and then specifically when the guitar plays, Corey takes a back seat. He doesn't sing in that part specifically so the guitars can shine in that, and I really appreciate the arrangement and the arrangements on this record. There's a fly in this room that's pissing me off. The arrangements on this record are something else. I think one review that I read online said that it's pretty obvious that Slipknot took their time on this record, that they gave it everything that they got and really fine-tuned the songs on this record, and I absolutely 1000% agree. This is a 14-song opus of a record with 1, 2, 3 kind of intro tracks, if you will. So really 11 songs, 11 full songs, but 11 good full songs. Every Slipknot record in one way, shape, or another has had songs that I have skipped, or songs that like haven't stayed with me after I listened to them. 0.5, unfortunately for me, is filled with those songs. But this record has no fluff. Overall, this is a solid record from beginning to end. One that I find myself wanting to listen to over and over again. This is a record that I have not been able to turn off. This is coming on the heels of the new Tool song that came out that I've only listened to 2 or 3 times because I'd rather hear this. That's how much I've enjoyed this record. Even the experimentation on this record, like Spiders, which people say like, ooh, they're experimenting. I don't think they're experimenting per se. I think they're just opening up the vault of what else this band can do. They're moving away from being a pure metal band, and they've been doing that. Them being able to use other attributes that the band can bring in, and keep in mind, these are 9 dudes. Now, granted, there are some core songwriters, Clown, Corey, and Jim, but there's also 6 other people that are influencing how this record sounds, right? And so a song like Spiders is born from that, and Spiders reminds me a lot of RX Queen from the Deftones. It kind of has a very similar beat to it. I love bands that can show that they're more than just one thing, and Slipknot has shown step by step that they are more than just a pure metal band, which pisses some people off, and I understand that. I know if it's not your cup of tea and you like what they were doing on the first record, I can understand why you may have moved away from this band. But I personally, as a fan of this band, and I have been since the first record, it took me some time, but I have been a fan since the first record, to see their progression and to see where they have become with all the trials and tribulations of band members leaving and all that kind of stuff. This band today sounds stronger than they have in a long time. Production wise, this is my favorite record that they have put out. Track listing wise, this is my favorite record that they have put out since Subliminal Verses, and to me, this is a stronger record than Volume 3. That might be blasphemy to say it, but after I've heard it 4 or 5 times, I can confidently say that there's more songs on this record that I enjoy than on that record, even though that record has Before I Forget, which I've said before is my favorite Slipknot song. However, We Are Not Your Kind is a banger of a record. It's weird to me that the name of the album doesn't contain the song that says the name of the album in there, but that's a different story. It is what it is. But Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind is an amazing time from start to finish. Phenomenally written, phenomenally arranged, phenomenally produced. I think this is a fantastic record. Thank you for watching this video. What did you think? Do you like Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind? Let me know in the comments down below. I have more videos coming. I have a pledge to make a certain number of videos by the end of the year, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make it or not, but I will do my best. If you haven't seen my albums that have changed my life series, I just started it a few days ago with System of a Down's Toxicity. I go in depth talking about why I love that record. More videos are coming soon. I'll see you next time.